Okay, Chris, Commander, what's the right way to address you these days?
Yeah, they're both right. I'll call you Andrew, if that's okay.
We sat down to talk about the book and where fiction starts to feel real.
Let's get right to it. I mean, have you written fiction before? Because like I know you as a lot of things, right? But suspense, geopolitical thriller novelist ain't one of them. So where did this come from?
I had no idea whether I could write fiction, but a few years ago, one of the great science fiction authors, Ray Bradbury, his family asked me to write a whole new introduction for the Martian Chronicles, which was getting re-released. And so I really carefully wrote, it was pretty extensive intro, and digging into his science fiction and the ideas of the time and then extrapolating that into real events. I think that was sort of the genesis of, wow, maybe there is a chance that I could write sort of an alternative history thriller fiction.
There's some psychoanalyst somewhere who's their fingers are like this right now because they're thinking, here's an astronaut who has just written 500 pages about astronauts murdering other astronauts, and he's going to be wondering, okay, what do I make of that?
They're based on my own life experience. That they have characteristics of people that I know. To be an astronaut is hugely competitive. Now we don't have murderers in the astronaut corps, but we've got some pretty intense people, and it's not too big an extrapolation to think that maybe one of them might be hiding something and kept it under wraps that nobody else knew.
I still want to have fun with this. Can we go through some of the fact versus fiction? Because you talk about drawing on your own life experiences. You describe in this novel, in very vivid detail, I might add, what it's like to vomit in your own space helmet. And of course, it led me to wonder, has Chris Hadfield ever vomited in his own space helmet?
Fortunately, the answer to that question is no. But if you're out on a spacewalk and this has happened and you throw up, it's life-threatening because that acidic stuff out of your stomach is now floating inside your helmet and getting in your eyes and your nose and your ears, and because it's all weightless and sticking to your visor. I mean, it's just a horrific set of circumstances. And so when I wrote that particular scene into the Apollo murders, I was thinking of the astronauts that I'd spoken to who have had to deal with such a miserable thing to happen.
Let's talk about reality, if we could, and very recent reality. Just the other day, we saw, of course, Starfleet's finest, William Shatner, blasting off. I'm curious to know, were you watching as that was happening?
I was in touch with Bill Shatner beforehand, and actually I've been corresponding with him since. But when he climbed out of that ship, the look on his face, and then the 2 or 3 minute soliloquy of wonderment that Bill just couldn't help but share.
There is Mother and Earth and comfort, and is there death? I don't know.
To me, that was, I just have that inside me so vividly from my personal experience. And here's someone who has, made a lifetime of expressing emotion publicly as an accomplished journeyman actor. I just thought Bill said it as well as anybody's ever said it.
Incredible feat. There's absolutely zero doubt about that. But I'm going to challenge you here because you've seen, in response to these types of flights, you've seen everything, the criticisms that people have leveled. They've written them out. I mean, we heard Prince William say that he wishes that the great minds, the great wealth of the world would spend a little less time focusing on what's beyond Earth, a little more time focusing on Earth. When you hear that kind of stuff, what's your take on it?
Well, I mean, it's a very typical thing to say, and there's some justification for it. But it's the exploration that inspires us to try and do new things. It's the pushing of the technology that has given us, these. How could you even imagine what a smartphone is just 20 years ago? Or global positioning satellites. Just think how ubiquitous and how much we take those satellites for granted, or us being able to talk to each other, or the weather satellites. And that technology doesn't just instantaneously appear. You have to inspire people. They have to develop it. It takes decades to build the rockets and the sensors and the navigation systems and communications. And once it's there, everyone's going, well, of course it's there. But and everybody wants to just throw the baby in the bathwater all out at the same time.
Chris Hadfield, great conversation as always. Great book, start of, I'm sure, many new adventures to come. Wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I'm hard at work with. I think you'll recognize a couple of the protagonists in the series. It's a fun project, and it keeps me thinking and hopping, and nice project to be doing at this phase of life. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Andrew.